evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes. 1, Village Board meeting, February 28th, 2023. 2, Village Board work session meeting, March 14th, 2023. 3, Village Board closed session meeting, March 14th, 2023. B, action, paramedic firefighter contract renewal, motion to approve a resolution approving proposal for paramedic firefighter services for 2023 through 2027 as submitted by Paramedic Services of Illinois, Inc., PSI. C, action, water and sewer rate ordinance, motion to approve an ordinance amending the Village of Grange Park Municipal Code establishing water and sewer rates. D, action, accounts payable and payroll summary, motion 1 to authorize the president and chairperson of the finance committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. And motion 2 to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and the next village board meeting, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its next meeting.
So move.
Second.
Mr. President, do you want me to call the roll?
Uh-oh.
Looks like he left.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
Okay, we got it. Thank you. Thanks, Maggie. Okay, we have a motion. Go ahead, Julie. I'm sorry.
Yes, we have a motion and a second to approve
Yep,
the,
Yep, I was just gonna
Consent agenda.
call the roll.
Megan, call the roll, please.
Okay, trustee Council,
Yes.
trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
trustee Silva.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, moving on to village manager report, Julia.
thank you, Mr. President. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. I have 2 items to report this evening. The first is regarding a grant application. Representative Chuy Garcia's office recently reached out to the communities in his district regarding an opportunity to submit a grant application for community project funding. This initiative allows members of Congress to request funding for up to 15 projects that benefit the communities that they represent, to be submitted to the House Committee on Appropriations. Director Ratty submitted our application for funding. The Central Area Stormwater Separation Project, which you know has a substantial price tag, to Representative Garcia's office on March 17th. And since that time, staff has had several discussions with their office about our application. Last Thursday, the office requested letters of support, which were due the following day. Tall order, happy to do it. Several members of staff, Rick, Maggie, and Sandy, quickly moved on this, as did President DeCipio, who helped us as well. We received the letters of support and then some within the deadline, which was really, I think, an amazing feat. Our application is still being considered as the phone calls from their office are continuing even today. The village would like to thank the following individuals or groups for taking the time to submit a letter of support on behalf of our grant application. That list includes the West Suburban Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the LaGrange Park Public Library, the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, or CMAP, the Central Council of Mayors, the LaGrange Park Chamber, LaGrange School District 102, State Representative LaShawn Ford, Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch, the Brookfield LaGrange Park Lions Club, the Community Park District of LaGrange Park, and the LaGrange Park Youth Commission. We also received 9 letters of support from individual residents. I won't mention their names individually, but I think it's important to thank each and every one of them for taking the time out of their busy lives for supporting this effort. In all, it was a team effort, and we would really like to thank those organizations and individuals for their support on this important project. The second item that I wanted to report upon what was the next steps for our budget development. Our next Finance Committee meeting will be held on April 11th at 6:30 p.m. And then following that meeting, we will hold our public hearing on the fiscal year 24 budget at 7:15. Again, that's our public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 24 budget. And all folks are welcome to come to the village to participate and hear the budget presentation. And with that, that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Julia. Okay, we'll move on to Administration Committee. Trustee Council?
Thank you, Mr. President. My report is as follows. Community Volunteer Day. The village's annual Community Volunteer Day will take place Saturday, May 13th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Volunteers will provide assistance to older adults in the community who need help with basic lawn care and spring cleaning. This day of service is a great opportunity for individuals, families, and organizations to support their neighbors and make a positive mark on the community. Visit the village's website to register for the event or to request volunteer assistance. Contact Maggie Jar, Assistant Village Manager, for more information. Community Arbor Day nominations is the next item. National Arbor Day is Friday, April 28th. The village is accepting nominations to plant a tree in honor or in memory of a person or group that has made a positive contribution to the community. Trees are planted in a public space during a ceremony, and a small plaque is installed at the base of the tree. Visit the village's website to download the nomination form and submit your nomination by April 14th. Contact Sandy Bakelich for more information. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Council. Megan, one little housekeeping item. If you could include me on the vote tally when we have an action item, since we have only 3 trustees present.
Sure. Okay. Yep.
Thank
Will
you.
do.
Okay,
Yep.
moving on to Building and Zoning Committee. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. February, we had 37 permits were issued compared to 30 February of last year. Estimated construction costs for the month were $926,408, which is only about 1/5 compared to February 2022. Permit fees collected were $19,753.92, which is less than 1/3 compared to last February. The primary reason for this is that 2 larger commercial interior remodel and mechanical permits were issued last February. 114 inspections were conducted this past February. Mr. President, does somebody else have their mic on too?
I think it's the boardroom. Let me check. Continue on, Trustee Sheehan.
Okay. 114 inspections were conducted this past February compared to 112 last year. 3 inspections were not approved during the month. First and second round interviews occurred during the month, with candidates being considered to fill the building director position. Interim Director D'Onofrio had various discussions with the owner and site visits regarding the property being redeveloped at 600 on the 600 block in North Ashland. There were some design issues to resolve, but many concerns about the condition of the site. Contractors worked during the month to resolve a block stormwater drain that ran from Andy's property through Memorial Park. The issue was resolved and inspected by Hancock Engineering and the MWRD. Work continued to move briskly at Plymouth Place construction site, with staff and our third-party consultants now being even more heavily involved in conducting inspections and resolving issues that arise. Some significant issues were raised regarding the fire alarm system design, along with planning for fire stopping and fire sprinkler inspection. So far, the general contractor has been very good to work with, but this is a very complex project for its size based upon the different projects
Trustee Sheehan, hold on one second. Anybody that's on the call, could you please mute your mic, please?
What about boys? Don't they need encouragement? I think
the people who called in by phone don't understand how to mute their phones.
How's that better?
Much better. If you're on a phone call, please mute your mic. Okay, continue, Trustee Sheehan. Sorry.
No, that's all right, Mr. President. Thank you. This is a very complex project for its size based upon the different projects taking place at the same time in various buildings at various stages of construction. Staff has been working on evaluating setbacks and requirements for residential generators based upon the concerns that have arisen by homeowners. Mike has been working with our administrative intern on research to help possibly proposing a future zoning code text amendment. Next, Mr. President. We go to 10B. Do you want me to read the letter or how do we want to handle this one?
Yes, please.
Yeah. All right, do you want me to read the entire letter or do you want me to read just the village board agenda memo?
Read the agenda memo.
Okay, very good. All right, variation request for 333 North of Grange Road, Aldi Inc. General background, Aldi, the applicant, is seeking to develop a new grocery store at 333 North of Grange Road, subject property. The proposed property requires the disconnection and demolition of the existing commercial building at the subject property and would include construction of a new standalone principal building, new parking areas, and associated stormwater, landscaping, lighting, and signage improvements. The applicant has applied for the following zoning approvals. 1, application for a variation to increase the height of exterior lighting for 2 sconce lights on the north side of the building from 16 feet to 21 feet and 24 feet 8 inches for 2 sconce lights on the south side of the building from 16 to 18.7 and from 20, and for 2 building mounted lights on the east side of the building from 16 to 18 on the north elevation, 20 on the east elevation. Application for a variation, number 2, to reduce the required percentage of ground floor transparency on the front facade, the west side, from 60% to 14%, and on the corner side facade, south side, from 60% to 0%. Number 3, application for a variation to reduce the amount of required building foundation landscaping along the front facade from 60% to 5% of the building. Number 4, application for a variation to reduce the width of the required parking lot perimeter landscape yard for portions of the parking lot adjacent to Brewster Lane from 10 feet angling down to as little as 2 feet, and to eliminate the parking lot perimeter landscaping yard for the parking area adjacent to LaGrange Road. Application number 5, application for a variation to reduce the number of required interior parking lot islands from 14 to 12 islands, eliminate islands from 3 required locations, eliminate the required shade tree and reduce the size of the island adjacent to the western driveway on Brewster Lane from 144 square feet to 120 square feet. Eliminate the required shade tree and reduce the size of the island near the southwest corner of the building from 144 square feet to 70 square feet, and eliminate the required shade tree and reduce the size of the middle island on the east side of the property from 144 square feet to 56 square feet. And number 6 was an application for a variation to eliminate the required buffer yard at the rear of the property on the east side. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on February 21st for the variation application. The applicant attended the hearing and provided testimony. The minutes from the meeting, court reporter. Somebody needs to put on mute.
Can everybody please mute their phone? Ranger, can you mute?
Whoever just signed on, go to mute, please.
Okay, continue on, trustee Sheehan.
All right, we'll try it. Variation applicant, the applicant attended the hearing. Try it again, Mr. President.
Yes, please.
All right, we're still echoing, but we'll make the best of it. Everybody, mute button, please.
Somebody's got their phone on, you gotta turn it to mute. Okay.
All right, we'll try it. That sounds better. Maybe not.
All right, trustee Sheehan, before we move on to 10C, we've missed 10B. We need to go to that first because we have an agreement that we need to finalize here. So if you could go to 10B first. Trustee Sheehan? We seem to have lost trustee Sheehan.
He's signing back in. He got dropped.
Michael, you back on? Trustee Sheehan? Oh.
I'm sure he'll be in shortly.
We'll give him a couple minutes.
There he
All right,
is.
I'm back.
All right.
I don't know
Go
what
ahead.
happened. Darn gremlins. All right, so I thought we were on 10B. What did I miss?
10B. To approve a letter of agreement between the village, Woodman of the World, and Homestead Apartments.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on one second, Mr. President. Sorry, the last minute doing this. I'm not,
I know, and I apologize. Thank you for offering, though.
that's all right. All right, let's see. All right, I've got the agenda. Yeah, I've got the agenda. I'm trying to find the motion now. Was on a separate email, so bear with me.
Sure.
The motion is on the agenda.
Yeah, if you would just read the letter of agreement or the motion, trustee Sheehan.
All right, let me go back. Hold on. Bear with me, it's coming back. All right, so what are we at, 10?
B.
All right, 10B, discussion and action, letter of agreement, motion to approve a letter of agreement between the village, Woodman of the World, and Homestead Apartments relating to the variation.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Sheehan, any comments?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, there's just been all kinds of information, and myself and a few other trustees were at the zoning hearing, as well as representatives from all three community partners in that area. I do have concerns about the parking, as a few residents and other maybe trustees might have too. And it seemed like on one of the votes for planning the zoning, there was a 4-3 vote, but I can't find the which variance that was for. But it sounds like an agreement between Woodman and Aldi and a surrounding property owner. The letter, I would approve of this. Hopefully everything works out for all parties involved, but I would support this.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Any comments from any other trustees on the agreement? I would just like to take a minute here to thank staff and Kathy Keating, our attorney, and Chuck Jordan with Homestead Apartments for working through this and getting to the point where we can sign a letter of agreement. If there's no further comments, I'll ask Maggie to call the roll. Megan, I'm sorry, Megan, will you call the roll, please? Megan?
Oh, God. Okay.
I know she said she was having internet issues.
Can Maggie take the roll?
She has to unmute herself to take the roll, and then each
Who, Megan?
trustee has to unmute themselves to vote.
Megan, are you unmuted? And each trustee has to unmute when you vote. Or Ms. Keating will take the vote. Megan, are you on? Okay, Kathy, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Silva,
Yes.
you have to unmute yourself to vote. Trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
trustee Council, you have to unmute yourself to vote.
Trustee Council?
All right.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm back. Can you guys hear me this time?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. Just one. Okay. Well, I don't know where we're at in the voting, so.
We're
on,
in
trustee
the vote. Trustee Council,
I'm calling her. I have to, she must have dropped off. I don't see her. Can you call back in? Did you get dropped? Here, hey Karen, can you call back in? Your unmuting is not working. Yeah, yes. Can you call back in? Okay. Bye-bye. I can't unmute her. If she mutes herself, I can't unmute her.
my God.
You know what, if you guys are
Thank you
talking,
for your-
please mute your mic because I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we at here now? Trustee Council, is she called in or anything?
She's calling in right now. It takes a little bit of patience to run these meetings. So we thank you for your patience, everybody. It's not easy.
I left mine all at the office. All my patients.
How did we do this for 2.5 years?
I don't know. We're out of practice here.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
Karen, Trustee Council.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did have, I wanted to echo on the sentiment of my fellow trustee, Trustee Sheehan, regarding the proposed, now I lost the page. The item 10B, the letter of request. I too would hope that these conditions are going to be met and followed because, you know, the ordinance approving all these variations, no truck deliveries. I would hope that those conditions would.
Hearing you.
Hello?
Yes, continue.
Talking, no one's hearing you.
He can hear me. He can hear me.
Who?
I can hear Rob
President
too.
DeCipio.
Trustee Council, continue, please.
Okay, so I would like to echo Trustee Sheehan's comments that I would like these conditions to be met, and seriously, I would hope that no harm would come to anybody as a result of violating any of the deliveries or, you know, those types of safety issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Council.
Trustee Council, we were taking a roll call vote.
Oh,
Do you
I'm
vote
okay,
to
Attorney
approve the
Keating.
letter agreement?
Yes. Did you hear me?
Yep, I got it. Yeah, I got you,
No.
Karen.
Okay.
Okay, President DeCipio,
Yes. Yes.
motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Now, before we continue, I just want to thank again the staff and Kathy and Chuck Jordan and Homestead Apartments for working with us and getting to this agreement. So with that, Megan, call the roll. You did already.
Yes.
Okay,
We just,
signed the agreement, right? Julia?
Yes, you do sign the agreement, yes.
All right, now we'll go to the variation.
Hold on one second, Trustee Sheehan.
I want the record to also, this is Kathy, I want the record to also reflect that of the World and Aldi have also signed the letter agreement.
Yes, it's all been signed. Okay, we're good. Trustee Sheehan, move on, please.
All right, Mr. President. So picking up on the
10C.
variation request, we got down to the bottom. The meeting was held February 21st. Do you want me to read all 6 and what the vote total was or not?
No, everybody's read the report.
Okay. All right. So basically, staff concurs with the recommendation of planning and zoning for discussion and action. Therefore, at this time, I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance granting variations for 333 north of Grange Road, Aldi, Inc.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, Trustee Sheehan?
At this point,
Thank you.
Yes, Trustee
President
Kathy?
DeCipio, at this point, we have agreed to allow public comment
Certainly.
on this item.
Okay. If anyone would care to address the board?
And this is public comment specific to Aldi. Can I clarify?
To 10C, correct.
Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. This is Jay Berry, CEO at Plymouth. Thanks for the opportunity. Hopefully you can hear me okay. We did submit a very detailed letter to the trustees. We sent that email. And I think that describes in detail, you know, some of our concerns regarding this particular project. And we did send a hard copy to Julia. I'm sure that's been disseminated to you and you have that in your possession. I just have a couple of comments. We're only going to take about 2.5 minutes. One, regarding the noise, that concern has been addressed, and I know the ordinance will be enforced by the village. We appreciate that. Second, with regards to the pedestrian crossing, I think this is very important. I understand that will be addressed to ensure safety of our residents and the residents of the greater community. The village leadership, and by the way, special thank you to Julia, Maggie, and I think Rick was also there, visited Plymouth Place with the engineer to determine what those plans could be and should be, not only with the current pedestrian crossing, but in addition of another one. So we think that's important. So those two have been addressed, noise and the pedestrian crossing. The last one, though, I have to spend a little bit of time on. I'm going to echo what I just heard from some of the trustees, and I'm going to echo what I heard from some of the commissioners at the last meeting. So we do know, and we feel very confident of this, based upon the lack of parking spots in the Aldi proposed construction, it'll force a number of issues since we, of course, are their neighbor right across the street. So use of the Aldi parking lot by patrons and employees and so forth will create, we really believe, a shortage of parking spaces. And that said, we do need, in good faith, need to protect our borders, our parking lot and driveway with security gates. Plymouth Place spots are dedicated for families, guests, employees, and local nonprofits. And I think all with the Grange Park included, we serve and support 20 other nonprofits using our building. We do that for good relationships, social accountability, and we enjoy doing that. While the village has offered $12,000 and Woodman the same, so $12,000, this only covers 16% of the gate cost. And I'm more than happy to share that information to you. I'm referencing the proposal that we have for the electrical and the operation of the gate. But, and this is very important, most importantly, beyond the dollars and the cost, we simply could not agree with the terms of the letter, which stated, quote, that we could not speak at this village meeting and represent the 350 residents if we had accepted the funds offered. So, as a CEO of Plymouth Place, it's my obligation, and I'm sure you understand this, my obligation, my role, and my responsibility to speak for every resident of this community. Their voices need to be heard. We are a community, we're a ministry. And we've stated this very clearly in our letter. And it's my honor to represent the residents of LaGrange Park, who happen to be at Plymouth Place. Please know, and again, I want to make this really clear to the trustees, the village leadership, Mr. President, we fully support the revitalization of the village market. Absolutely, multiple times we've said that. That's not the issue. The issue is the real cost associated with bearing the cost with the parking issues, which we feel very confident. Now, I must say, our neighbor, Chuck Jorn, has provided support to us with several safety concerns that we had, and it will support our residents. So, Chuck, I believe you're online. Thank you for your support. What we simply ask is that Woodman be an equally good neighbor, like Mr. Jorn, and bear the actual real costs of our future gates for our parking lot and toward the end of Brewster. That's our concern. The rest of it is all in the letter, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Byer. Thank you for your comments. Any trustees have any comments?
Yes, Mr. President, Trustee Council, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm very concerned about the lack of parking.
Mr. President?
And I'm also concerned about. Hello?
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Mr.
Hello?
President, can we check if there is additional public comment on this item?
Certainly. Trustee
Oh.
Council, we're getting feedback
Sure.
on your call. Hold on
Okay.
one second.
Thank you.
Is anyone out there that is on the call would like to address the board regarding 10C? Anyone else want to address the board? I'll address the board.
We have a hand up from Melanie.
Okay.
Melanie, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay.
My name is Milani Eckner, and I'm actually calling in from Grange, just across the way and down a little bit from where the Aldi will be. And I wanted to just register a couple of concerns, primarily in relation to what's being discussed about all of these zoning changes, is that, as I understand it, the Village of LaGrange Park went through a process to plan a more pedestrian-centric access to Village Market. And as somebody who lives in LaGrange and has a parent across the way and would like to visit them, I find it almost impossible to cross LaGrange Road on foot. And I've seen many children running across LaGrange Road. And I'm concerned that all of these, what appear to be minor changes, doing setbacks, making parkways that are smaller and taking away trees and all of these things, actually kind of work against the spirit of what was discovered in the process where streetscaping was heavily developed and the community was asked what would make things better. You have a park, you have a library, and you have your core business across from a very large base of paying customers who literally need to drive their cars across to that area. And now you're adding another sort of car-centric development to that area. And so I'm just concerned that is that all of these things are going through without more mitigations along the lines of what Plymouth Place is asking for, and then I think some of the other people are asking for. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Melania. Anyone else care to address the board? Okay, trustee council, you're done? You finished?
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So in regards to CEO Beery's comments, I would like to know myself if Woodman can be asked to contribute to the cost of their safety gates that they are proposing to install at their facility in light of the amount of traffic that will be traversing through there. And it could pose a huge threat, not only to the residents that live there, but their employees. And I would hate to see parking become an issue for the facility itself based on the fact that there's not ample parking and that overflow could very easily go to Plymouth Place. So I would like to see if there could be some terms worked out with Woodman to help defray some of the costs of that burden that's on Plymouth Place to install these gates.
Ms. Keating, would you like to comment?
Sure. Woodman of the World had agreed to contribute $12,000 to Plymouth Place to defray the cost of the gates, to match the village's $12,000 to defray the cost of the gates. Plymouth Place is asserting that there will be insufficient parking on the Aldi store and the Village Market in general, but no evidence was introduced at the hearing to support that. In fact, the evidence suggested the contrary. The parking that is proposed for the southern building of the Village Market meets all village requirements, which are quite stringent, and meets the internal, it exceeds the village requirements by 33 spaces. And in the calculation, village, they assumed that all spaces in this Village Market building and the adjacent former Loyola building were occupied. In addition to that, Aldi testified at the public hearing that the number of parking spaces it was going to provide met all of its corporate standards that they set for all of their stores nationwide. So the contributions that the village and Woodman of the World offered to Plymouth Place reflect the village's and Woodman of the World's view that the parking on the Aldi site will be sufficient.
I'm allowed to comment, I'd like to comment on that.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely incorrect. Even all the representatives talked about expansive parking. Some of the trustees tonight expressed concern with parking, as did the commissioners. So again, I'm not going to get into a tit for tat discussion on the parking, but the reality is, and common sense would predict that this will be an issue. So I would wholeheartedly disagree. And frankly, again, we weren't allowed to, we didn't accept your proposal because we weren't allowed to speak. And I think it's important that we represent the concerns of Plymouth Place. So if you'd like to, go at it again with regards to the parking, issue, we'd love to do that, but I still think this is an open issue for us.
Thank you, Jay. Trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I'm going to put this out there, and maybe this is probably directed toward Attorney Keating. Not so much on this one, but maybe later on down the meeting for the economic incentive agreement. Is there any way that this item here, maybe we could, I don't know, not pull it from tonight, but somehow I'd like to see two things. One is maybe over the next 2 weeks or when our next meeting is, all sides come to some kind of agreement. And as far as the economic incentive agreement, I would sure like to have, 2 or 3 more trustees, since it's such a large dollar amount. Thoughts on that, Attorney Keating?
I can't hear what you said.
He questioned whether he wants to pull the item off the agenda.
If we could give, Kathy, like not like a 2 week cooling down period for all parties to reach agreement, but when it comes to the economic incentive agreement, then maybe we could have the other 3 trustees in attendance, with it being such a large dollar amount. I'm just thinking out loud.
All right, let's stick with 10B. We'll go to, when we get to the incentive agreement, we'll discuss it. Let's finish 10B first, Trustee Sheehan, so we can move on.
And 10C.
10C, I'm sorry, 10C.
All right, well, I've stated what I have to say, so that's it.
Okay, Trustee Silva?
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know if I'm speaking, if anything that I say is out of turn, then Attorney Keating can stop me. But I just feel that the parking is a bit of a concern. That would be the only concern. As what Jay from Plymouth Place is saying about the gates. If we Plymouth Place is their property and not the village's property, and since we're not, we're just talking about okaying Aldi. I don't see that putting gates in or helping them pay for gates should fall on the village. I don't think that it's our diligence to do or to have anything that it shouldn't fall on us. If it's their problem, it should be on them, not on the village to do. That is all.
Thank you, Trustee Silva. So with
Mr. President?
Yes, Trustee Council.
Oh, there's echo again. So regarding the comment of Trustee Sheehan, considering that we have a minimal amount of trustees on this call tonight, and this is a project of huge magnitude, I would like to see either vote continued or this part of the agenda continued, so that we would have more of a representation. And I do feel that this is going to be an undue burden placed on Plymouth Place, regardless of what the studies are out there. They did state at the zoning meeting that Aldi did state that there would be insufficient parking. That was part of their testimony. You know, I don't know how else to put it, but that's pretty much what the Aldi folks had said at that hearing. And so to say that there will be sufficient parking, one of the things that really concerns me is that there is potential for overflow to go to Plymouth Place and take up their parking. I mean, they're already using Brewster Lane commuters are using Brewster Lane for their trips to and from the train station. So who's to say that it would preclude them from overflow traffic going from the Aldi to Plymouth Place's parking?
As far as your question regarding the absence of some trustees, Julia, have you received any comments from any of the trustees regarding this proposal?
Well, you know, I received a comment from trustee Lautner that for the garbage, that was it.
And all the trustees have seen this numerous times.
Yes.
Julia, could you repeat that? I didn't make you out at all.
Not sure why I'm not being heard very clearly. Meg, can you hear me very well in the boardroom?
Yes, we can hear you.
To answer Mr. President's question, we only received a general comment from trustee Bob Lautner that he was supportive of how this project is. It wasn't enough I don't have affirmative feedback from any of the trustees with regard to the individual.
Okay, so any other comments from any of the trustees? Trustee Sheehan, trustee Council, trustee Silva, any other comments, addition?
Mr. President, could I just say something on ask behalf?
Yes, Chief, go ahead.
Because I think there might be a lot of people in the meeting that weren't at the zoning hearing. I don't know if Kathy can comment on that the public testimony, which was a hearing, that they do meet the zoning code and the requirement of parking.
Did you guys, every trustee?
Having trouble hearing you, but
go ahead, Chief,
Can
say it
everybody
again.
check their mute button again?
Yeah, people are not muting. I think that's the problem. There's echo again. But Kathy, I just needed to clarify so that everybody understands that it was not at the zoning hearing, that there was public testimony on the record, and it was determined that parking meets the law or the statutes of the zoning code of the village, correct?
Thank you, Chief.
correct, yes.
All right, we can volley this parking issue back and forth and wouldn't, again, from what we're being told from our experts, there's enough for their proposal. Any other issues besides the parking, trustees?
Mr. President, I am not a trustee, but I would like to make a comment because a comment was made earlier about the removal of trees. The
Yes.
proposal in the site plan adds trees to the site, and I just wanted to provide that clarification.
Yeah, you know what's most confusing about this is the lack of information or the misinformation that's being placed out there. The thought that we're going to remove trees and not replace them is absolutely ludicrous. And we want to take care of all our partners, and that includes Plymouth Place. And Mr. Byer, I am here for you. Julia's here for you. Kathy's here for you. You guys are a gem in our community, and we want to do everything we can to support you. However, there comes a time when we just have to move forward. And you know, when people tell us, our experts tell us that you have adequate parking at all these sites, we need to move forward on this. And I know you're not going to be in agreement, and I know Trustee Council, you may not be in agreement. I trust the information we've been given. Mr. Jorn obviously trusts the information we've been given. Not that, Mr. Byer, you do not trust it. I don't agree with that. I think you've always been above board with us. And I'm just getting a little bit concerned about where we're headed down this path. It appears that, you know, we're being asked to do things that we wouldn't ordinarily be asked to do. For example, I think, Mr. Byer, in one of your letters, you stated that the residents would have to pay for the parking out of their monthly assessment or something, lunch money or something. I don't know what you said. You had mentioned that some avenue or vehicle that they would be paying for this.
Yeah, so, you know, our one revenue source is monthly service fees. So any additional expense, whatever it might be, is borne by the residents. So hands down, this is on the residents, number one. Number two, frankly, with the acceptance of the variations that were approved by the village, that has and will cause some of the issue. And number three, you know, as I said, we're just asking Woodman, you know, to be a good neighbor. While I appreciate the offer before from the village and Woodman, that's all well and good, but you got to remember, we were given this gag order saying we couldn't testify here. And I think it was important, again, Mr. President, as you would agree, representing the residents of Plymouth Place who are residents of LaGrange Park. So I think what we're asking is fair and equitable for Woodman to be a good neighbor. I appreciate the issue on the noise, resolving that, and pedestrian crossing, but I think the parking is going to be an issue. And again, I don't want to be a dead horse, but Aldi said this themselves. The commissioner said this. Some of the trustees said this. So the bottom line is, you know, with everybody who's traversing Brewster and coming in at our community, and as we serve the greater community, you know, we know this will be an issue. So I'm just only asking support from the village to support us with regards to what Woodman needs to do. And again, this is going to cost way more than what was given. But again, we didn't accept that based upon the fact that we couldn't testify. And that's just inappropriate. And I just think just wrong. So that's our stance. And, you know, we're just doing the right thing for our residents. And, you know, while I appreciate what you're saying, you know, we're right there on the border and, you know, parking will be an issue. And someone did propose that we take this up again and we can have a special meeting and kind of work through it with Woodman at the table. We would appreciate that. But I think it was important that we simply be heard tonight. And again, any cost associated with this property is on the backs of the residents. We're a nonprofit. There are no other pots of money around to pay for these things. So that will absolutely be the case.
Oh, my train of thought. I'm sorry. Do you know that we can recommend all we want to Woodman? And I mean, we cannot ask them or force them to do anything that they don't want to do. So I'm not sure, as far as you saying Woodman needs to pay for these gates, what onus you're putting on us, because we don't have any skin in that game. We cannot force Woodman to pay for your gates.
Well, again,
I don't know unless you want us to hijack them and say, you know, I mean, first of all, we removed the gag order. So are you okay with the agreement then?
I think we'll need to take that up, you know,
okay,
and talk about that subsequent to this meeting. And again, as I said, I appreciate what the village is trying to do. We support revitalization. We'd be the first on the list saying, absolutely, let's do this. But I can't do it on the backs of our residents and create a financial burden for them. You know, bottom line, as a representative, as the CEO, it's important. And but I think we can take that up again if you're willing to do that, and then talk outside this meeting and then discuss what we can do. But if you're saying they're removing the gag order, okay, well, let's talk about that, but that was crystal clear that wasn't the case. So if we want to talk about that subsequent to this call, I'm happy to do that, and I appreciate the consideration.
Great, absolutely. Okay, any other comments? Okay, trustees, you need to unmute your phone when you vote. So Megan, will you call the roll?
Yes, can everybody hear me this time?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, trustee Council,
No.
trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
trustee Silva,
Yes.
President DeCipio.
Yes.
The motion passes by a vote of 3-1. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. And thank you, Mr. Bryan. I did say that, yes, we would continue on with the communication.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, moving on, we have, let's see. Consent agenda, Administration Committee. Engineering Capital Projects, trustee Silva.
Thank you, Mr. President. The report is as follows for the engineering and capital projects. The village opened bids for the hydro excavating project on February 1st. The low bidder was Hydro X EXC Incorporated with a bid of $47,000 under the lead service line replacement program. A project was developed to help determine and confirm the water service line material at a number of residential locations. Approximately 100 locations will be potholed in the public parkway. The information gathered will be part of the village's preliminary inventory of their lead water services to be reported to the Illinois EPA in April of 23. The village advertised for bids on the 2022 and 2023 sewer repair program. Bids will be opened on March 6. The project involves point repairs on sewers located throughout the village that were identified by recent televising and cleaning projects. The sewer sections identified for repair represent segments of sewers that need replacement. This is a yearly maintenance program to keep the sewers functioning at full capacity and in good repair. National Power Rotting cleaned and televised the 24-inch diameter Barnesdale outfall sewer north of 26th Street. This section of sewer is proposed to be lined for use as the force main to Salt Creek as part of the Central Area Sewer Separation Project. After the video and formal report are reviewed, plans for lining of the sewer can be developed. Plans can also be developed for the design of local storm sewer lift station that incorporates the nearby parking lot sewers and will pump the rainfall runoff into the force main. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Silva. And we're going to move right on into public safety. So go ahead, trustee Silva.
There's a police department summary of activities for February 23. In addition to the attached statistical summaries of the following items are being reported to apprise the village president and board trustees on current police department operations for the month of February. Total number of crimes reported for the first 2 months of 2022 are approximately 4.5% lower than last year, with 52 incidents reported this year compared to 57 in 22. Traffic enforcement is at 389 total tickets issued through February of 23. Overall police activity is approximately 15% higher to last year, with 1,225 total incidents reported in the month of February of 23, compared to 901 total incidents in the month of February of 22. Of those 1,225 total incidents, 75 were assist to the fire department, 368 were self-initiated building or park checks, 220 were traffic stops, and 65 were closed home checks. Department members attended 276 hours of training, along with the completion of required monthly online training and Lexipool daily training bulletins. Of note, Sergeant Tim Griffin attended a week-long class hosted by the FBI and the Supervisor Leadership Institute. Officer Chris Dempsey submitted his letter of resignation from our department. He has accepted a lateral position for another agency in DuPage County. We thank Officer Dempsey for his 9+ years of service to our village, residents, and business owners. Chief Contois had a multitude of conversations with FH Passion regarding the boardroom remodel. Work is anticipated to start on Thursday, April 6th. Reminder, the April 11th work session meeting will be held in the community room of the Village Hall, the basement. The Deputy Chief and Patrol Commander attended a 32-hour training course focused on managing a training program. This class was essential in aiding with all of the mandated training staff has to complete. Mark your calendars and do not miss out on the upcoming Police Department special events. A drug take-back day, April 22nd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Village Hall lobby. The LaGrange Park Police Department, in coordination with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, will host a National Drug Take-Back Day. This program offers a safe, convenient, and responsible means of disposing of unwanted or expired medications. Please note only drugs in pill form will be accepted, no liquids. Please empty all drugs from their original containers, bottles, or blister packs and place in a sealed baggie for drop-off. Can't make it on April 22nd? A permanent drop box is located in the Village Hall lobby with drop-off access during regular business hours of 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Coffee with the Chief and staff. The next coffee with the Chief and staff will take place on Wednesday, April 26th from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Panera Bread located at 439 North LaGrange Road. We hope to see you there. Please follow the police department on our Facebook page at LaGrange Park Police Department or our Twitter account at LaGrange Park PD and Instagram at LaGrange Park PD. A friendly reminder about securing one's personal property at all times. Please lock your vehicles and residences, especially during overnight hours. If you're going on vacation, please utilize the new online vacation watch portal, frontlinepss.com/LaGrange Park, or log on to the village website and access the portal under the police department page. If you do not have internet access, feel free to fill out a vacation watch card at the PD between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Moving on. All right. Fire department activities. EMS incidents this month, 152. This compares to February of 22 when there were 134 fire rescue incidents this month, 43. This compares to February 22 when there were 31. Staff worked hard throughout the month completing various tasks in order to prepare our new engine 1221 for service, included but not limited to having radio work completed, hose covers installed, installing mounting brackets for equipment, and driving and training with the engine. Towards the end of the month, engine 1222, our 1992 fire apparatus, was taken out of service for the transfer of equipment. Firefighters worked throughout the last weekend of the month and several additional days transferring and mounting tools, hose, and equipment onto the new engine. Staff was notified by FEMA that our 2021 assistance to fire grant application was awarded, which was written and submitted in February of 22. The amount awarded is $233,024.28, which is to be used for the purchase of new SCBAs and new Starcom mobile radios for our fire apparatus. The new grant application was also submitted, which also included some replacement communication headsets. Ambulance 1214 remained out of service throughout the month as repairs were being made to it at Rock River Auto Body in Sturton, Illinois. The shop was chosen as they specialize in ambulance repairs and are under the ownership of the vendor whom we purchased the ambulance new from. A few personnel participated in the annual Mighty Patriots Heroes versus Heroes game. The Mighty Patriots are the Special Olympic basketball team from Park Junior High. The Foreign Fire Insurance Board met approving tools for Station 1, a partial boot allowance for personnel, and to split the cost of new rapid intervention packs with the foundation. Staff met with our GIS consortium to outline and discuss prioritizing GIS projects that would benefit the fire department. Paramedic and firefighters Qatar and Shields completed CPR instructor certification. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Silva, and thank you for doing the other report too. Moving on, Public Works Committee, Trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the month, staff repaired 2 water main breaks and replaced 3 lead service lines with copper pipe. Only 2 small snow events occurred this month, resulting with staff completing salting and/or plowing operations. Pothole work was performed in all sections of the village and will continue next month. Staff performed a quick brush pickup through the village the first week of February due to strong winds. The village contractor, National Power Rotting, began and completed the cleaning and televising of main sewer lines. Catch basins in troubled areas were also vacuum cleaned. Due to a warm February, the street sweeper was able to make at least 1 pass in each section of town. Street sweeping will continue as long as weather permits. In-house tree trimming work was performed and will be concluded in early March. Matt DiCasola began CDL training late in the month at the local 150 training facility. He should obtain his CDL next month. GIS work has continued collecting data on village-owned assets along with continued training throughout the village. Water meters were read in Section 2. 15 monthly bacterial water samples were taken. Various water and sewer work orders were completed, along with resident tree concerns and general construction inquiries. And routine maintenance of the department fleet and equipment was performed, as well on police and fire vehicles. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Okay, moving on to Finance Committee. I thought Trustee Laudner would have called in by now, so I'm going to just read his report, the financial update. This memo summarizes the village's general fund financial performance through February 2023. General fund revenues is at 85.1% of the annual budget of $10,575,350 at $8,995,315. To date, the village has collected approximately $1.8 million in property tax revenues versus a budget of $3.8 million. Utility taxes are higher by $59,000 or 12.7% due primarily to an increase in natural gas tax receipts. Despite the challenging economy, state sales tax revenues are up $26,467 year over year at $794,000. Permit receipts are up almost $488,000 compared to the prior year. Charges for services are higher by about $157,000 or 21%, mainly due to the increased ambulance fees receipts. Fines are down $29,000 or 27.7%, a big portion due to decrease in parking and compliance ticket collections. 83% through the fiscal year. Total general fund expenditures and transfers are $8,414,000, which is approximately 78% of the total budget expenditures and transfers of $10,772,000. Expenditures for all departments are within expectations, 83% through the fiscal year. So I'll move on to other reports. The village clerk, Megan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Just a very brief reminder that we have the consolidated election coming up on April 4th. And all election results will be viewable on the Cook County Clerk's website, and they'll update it on the day of as we get election results in. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Somebody's got their phone on. Mr. Council? Okay. Village Treasurer, Austin.
I just wanted to say that we put out the agenda. We did receive a large sum of property taxes from the county. I put that in the board briefs, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware.
Great. Thank you, Austin. Village Engineer, Mark.
No, nothing to report today.
Thank you. Our Village Attorney, Kathy.
Nothing to report, Village President.
And our Commercial Revitalization Committee, Trustee Silva.
Thank you, Mr. President, once again. The Streetscape Improvement Plan. The Village Board accepted the Village Market Streetscape Improvement Plan at the work session meeting on March 14th. The final report and all other project documents are available on the village's website. Village staff is now working on next steps for prioritizing and implementing the plan. Updates will be posted on the village's website and shared during meetings of the Commercial Revitalization Committee. Andy's Frozen Cluster. The village of LaGrange Park, the LaGrange Park Chamber of Commerce, and other community partners celebrated the official grand opening of Andy's Frozen Cluster on March 16th. The event featured welcoming remarks from owner Andy Kuntz and Golden Scoop ceremony, as well as music, games, and the chance to win free custard for a year. Thank you to all who attended and participated in the festivities. Run for the Roses. The LaGrange Park Chamber of Commerce is hosting Run for the Roses, a 5K race for the runners and walkers on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 14th at 8 a.m. Half of all the proceeds will benefit Interfaith Community Partners, a local nonprofit organization that works with volunteers to provide accompanied transportation for older adults to appointments and errands. Take advantage of early bird registration pricing of $30 per entry and get a team of family, friends, or coworkers together for this great event. Early bird pricing ends on April 1st. Register online. Commercial Revitalization Committee. The next Commercial Revitalization Committee meeting will take place on Tuesday, May 9th at 6 p.m. at Village Hall. Businesses and members of the public are invited to attend and provide input on how the village can best support new and existing business and enhance the commercial areas in the Grange Park. All right. Next is the proposed economic incentive agreement for 333 North LaGrange Road. General background. At the September 28, 2021 board meeting, the village board confirmed its support to incentivize the development of a new grocery store at 333 North LaGrange Road by Woodmen of the World Life Insurance Society. Woodmen using tax increment financing, also known as TIF, and business district dollars. The board approved an inducement resolution acknowledging the village's conceptual approval of the proposed project, and where any financial assistance would be contingent upon the village approving and executing an economic incentive agreement. Village staff and the village's special counsel have since negotiated the terms and conditions of an economic incentive agreement with Woodman, the developer. The agreement is attached to this memo and includes the following provisions. Investment by the developer, approximately $5,222,000. Project completion on or before December 31st of 24. Village's obligation on an annual basis, 75% of the property's incremental taxes and 75% of the BDD taxes generated from the grocery store will be paid to the developer as reimbursement for eligible project costs. Approved incentive amount not to exceed $800,000. Term, the agreement will terminate on December 31st of 2040. Or as soon as payment is made in full of an amount not to exceed $800,000. Recommendation. Staff recommends adopting the ordinance approving the economic incentive agreement for the redevelopment of 333 North LaGrange Road. This item is for discussion and action. Motion to adopt an ordinance of the Village of LaGrange Park, Cook County, Illinois, approving an economic incentive agreement with Woodmen of the World Life Insurance Society.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion? Trustee Silva, any comments?
I think that I think this is good for our village. This is a great thing that we're doing. I took the liberty out of my time this week, and I went out and I spoke to as many residents as I possibly could in the village. Today alone, I spoke to 35 individual residents in the Grange Park and asked what they thought about this. And they were, I have 27 that were for, and 7 that were not. I'm sorry, 8 that were not. And I just think that as I talk to people, I think this is something great to bring a good retailer to LaGrange Park that would benefit all of our residents, and with both jobs and just in tax revenue and everything. So I think this is a good thing for our village. I'd rather see that an Aldi go in there or you know, a retailer, rather than that property sit vacant for another 5 to 10 years or maybe longer. So I'm in favor of this.
Thank you, trustee Silva. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I echo what trustee Silva said. There's a lot of support for this. I think people are excited that hopefully it'll spur further redevelopment in that area. It'll be nice to have a new building and hope that the excitement spreads to the rest of the complex. But yeah, I would support this. And again, as stated earlier, I hope all our community partners can come together for our great residents, this great community we have. Thanks.
Thanks, trustee Sheehan. Trustee Council?
Thank you, Mr. President. As I stated earlier, I still think that this is a lot of money, and I realize that it's a TIF, and I realize that dollars are going to be coming into the village from this TIF and from this particular business. But ultimately, I have safety concerns as well as parking issues and a myriad of issues. And I realize that this is, in the long run, a good thing for the village. But I sincerely find like no words that I can, honestly say that we're being, that Woodmen have had opportunities for many, many years and to upgrade their property, and they really have never done anything. And now all of a sudden to have a project of this magnitude and to not be 100% sure of the safety issues that can be involved in all of this, I'm really not happy with the Woodmen. So that being said, I'm disappointed. I really, I can't, in all good conscience, I cannot support it.
Thank you, trustee Council. Yeah, I agree with trustee Sheehan. I think this is a great opportunity. I think it's well deserved. I think Woodman has helped us negotiate and come to terms with Mr. Jordan, and we're trying to with Plymouth Place. But all in all, I think they're going to bring a great project to our community. I would urge the trustees, if you're listening, to make sure if you have any concerns about any project ever down the road in the past, please connect with staff and express your concerns so that, when we come to a meeting like this and we're making huge decisions on this, we're not going back to square one. I mean, parking's been bantered back and forth. The amount of this incentive agreement has been placed on our agenda a couple times, and we've talked about it. So, rather than waiting to a meeting to come and voice our displeasure in something, I would urge the trustees, just for your own consideration, to get the information you need to make a good decision from Julia or Maggie or Kathy or anyone, either the chief, anybody that you need to get that ahead of time so that you're prepared for when you come to the meeting to make those decisions and say, yeah, I talked to Kathy, I talked to Maggie, I talked to Julia about the parking. I'm not in favor of it, but if this is the way it's going to be, okay. So we're not going back and rehashing the tag every time. With that all said, I think this is a great proposal. I hope that we can come to some consensus with Plymouth Place in the future. And with that, I will vote yes. So Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Council?
No.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Silva?
Yes.
President DeCipio?
Yes.
The motion passes by a vote of 3-1.
Thank you, Megan. And again, thank you, trustee Silva.
No problem.
Okay, moving on, village engineer. Oh, we did that already. Okay, motion to approve committee and collectors reports as presented.
So moved.
Megan, call the roll. We got a second. Second?
Oh, yeah. Second?
Second.
Okay, Megan, call the roll.
Okay. Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Silva,
Yes.
President DeCipio.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, moving on to number 16, Village President Report. I just have one comment adding on to what I've already said. There's a lot of information about there, and there's a lot of information being bantered back and forth. Some of it's true, some of it's not true. I think it's urged upon the trustees to decipher what really is out there, what's true, and what is really a wish on some people's part. We need to come to some agreement because we need to get all our partners on the same page and work in harmony. So hopefully the trustees will help out with that. Any public participation of non-agenda related items? Marilyn Strogini, I know you're on. Anyone else care to address the board? Anyone care to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. Any new business? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Megan, call the roll?
Trustee Council,
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
Trustee Silva,
Yes.
President DeCipio.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. I want to thank everyone for tonight. It was a challenge. We made it through it. Hopefully that we can get back in person again. So thank you all and have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.